4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman begins with a startling yet grounding truth: the average human lifespan is about 4,000 weeks long. That's it. Framing life in this way, a finite number of weeks, immediately forces a shift in perspective. Instead of trying to conquer time or squeeze more into our calendars, Burkeman invites us to embrace the brevity of life and work within its limits, not against them. The book is not a traditional productivity guide. It is a philosophical, often humorous, and deeply human reflection on how we relate to time and meaning. Burkeman, once a productivity columnist obsessed with self-improvement systems, confesses early in the book that none of those methods ever truly made him feel in control. Instead, they left him anxious and overloaded. This realization led him down a path of inquiry, questioning the premise that we can ever get on top of everything. He argues that our obsession with efficiency, fueled by apps, hacks, and checklists, often makes us less present, more anxious, and increasingly disconnected from what really matters. The core of Burkeman's argument is that time is not a resource we can master or accumulate. It is life itself. And because it is finite, our attempts to optimize it can become a trap. Every choice we make, every yes, is also a no to something else. He calls this opportunity cost and insists that confronting it, rather than avoiding it, is where true freedom lies. Instead of asking, "How can I do it all?" he encourages us to ask, "What's worth doing at all?" One of the most striking concepts in the book is the idea of existential overwhelm. This is the condition we often find ourselves in when faced with endless possibilities and no clear guide on what to prioritize. Burkeman argues that the discomfort of not being able to do everything is not a flaw in the system, it's a feature of being human. By trying to deny or avoid this discomfort, we stretch ourselves too thin and become less effective, not more. Instead of offering time management tricks, Burkeman explores the psychology behind our drive to be busy. He examines the myth of future redemption, the idea that once we get through our to-do list or reach a particular milestone, we'll finally be free to enjoy life. But life doesn't work that way. The to-do list regenerates. The milestone moves. The reward never quite arrives. The solution? Stop deferring life and start living it now, even amid the chaos. Burkeman also critiques the culture of busyness that equates being overwhelmed with being important or valuable. He illustrates how we often wear busyness like a badge of honor, even when it's making us miserable. This cultural conditioning, he explains, leads us to fill our calendars not with what's meaningful, but with what looks productive. He proposes that the real skill is not time management, but neglect management. The courage to neglect the right things. Importantly, the book is not anti-goals. Instead, it asks us to hold our goals lightly. Rigidity, Burkeman warns, can prevent us from adapting when life shifts, which it inevitably does. By staying open, curious, and grounded in values rather than outcomes, we can remain anchored amid uncertainty. In this way, he reframes failure not as a threat, but as a natural and useful part of the finite life. In the final chapters, Burkeman returns to the central theme, that embracing finitude is not defeatist, but freeing. He encourages us to lean into the present, to pay attention to the activities and people we care about, and to accept that much will always remain undone. This honest, sometimes bittersweet acceptance leads to a more grounded, grateful way of living. In closing, 4,000 Weeks is not a manual for doing more. It is an invitation to want less, to stop rushing, and to spend the brief, precious time we have on what truly matters. Rather than fixating on control, Burkeman offers a path to peace, not by escaping life's limits, but by walking alongside them with humility, humor, and heart. The book spends time unpacking our fear of missing out and how it drives compulsive multitasking and constant connectivity. Burkeman doesn't shame readers for feeling FOMO, he normalizes it and then challenges it. Missing out, he explains, is inevitable. We simply cannot experience everything. The question isn't how to avoid missing out, but how to miss out well, by consciously choosing what to leave undone. Another powerful insight is about our resistance to boredom and stillness. Burkeman points out how our attempts to fill every moment, through scrolling, multitasking, or working late, often rob us of depth. The richest experiences of life, he argues, tend to unfold in the spaces we usually rush through, waiting in line, doing dishes, walking with no destination. When we stop treating time as something to conquer, we can begin to savor it. Burkeman draws on various thinkers, from philosophers like Martin Heidegger to productivity gurus like David Allen, to highlight how different traditions have grappled with time. He respects the insights of modern systems but insists they must be placed in the context of our mortality. Tools are fine, but they should serve values, not replace them. Otherwise, we risk becoming more efficient at doing things that don't matter. A particularly transformative section of the book talks about accepting limitation as a path to empowerment. The human condition is one of limitation. We will never read every book, meet every person, or pursue every interest. This is not a reason for despair, but for focus. Burkeman encourages us to intentionally commit to a few meaningful projects, relationships, and practices, and to let go of the illusion that we can have it all. Burkeman introduces the concept of cosmic insignificance therapy, an oddly liberating practice of zooming out and recognizing our smallness in the grand scale of the universe. This doesn't make life meaningless. In fact, it makes meaning more precious. When we stop trying to make a huge impact or chase legacy, we are freer to create meaning in the present moment, through small acts of care, attention, and presence. The book doesn't ignore real-world constraints like jobs, parenting, or deadlines. Rather, it invites us to reframe them. Even in rigid systems, we can cultivate an attitude of presence and choice. We may not control our schedules entirely, but we can decide how we relate to them. Burkeman suggests practical shifts, like fixed-volume productivity, where you constrain your working hours on purpose, as ways to live more intentionally.